How long does it take newspaper and cardboard to decompose in sheet mulching? When you're doing sheet mulching, use one of these paper products and you cover it with lots of organic matter. Here I've got a nice pile of fall leaves and grass trimmings. They've been all mixed together. In fact, they're heating up, they're starting to decompose. With sheet mulching, you put some paper product down, you cover it with organic matter, and you let it sit until this decomposes. But how long does that take? I went on the internet to find an answer, and I did find some answers. Most people claim that cardboard decomposes in 2 to 4 weeks. We used cardboard in a project a couple years ago, and we covered it with wood chips. A year later, it was still there. Hardly had changed at all. I don't believe that number of 2 to 4 weeks. So in this video, we're gonna test it. I also had this unexpected comment on my Facebook group, which is Garden Fundamentals, and you're welcome to join us there. You'll get lots of great information. Somebody made the comment that cardboard decomposes faster than newspaper. Now, I've been telling people for years they should use newspaper because it decomposes faster. But again, I don't actually have some data to prove that. Is cardboard faster or is newspaper faster? I'm going to set up 3 test scenarios. One is a single sheet of cardboard, and this is material from a box, so it's fairly thick. I'm also going to try 1 sheet of newspaper, and in a second newspaper test, I'll put down 5 sheets of newspaper, one on top of another. And then I'll cover all of that with 4 or 5 inches of this great organic material. And then I'm going to wait. Now I'm going to check it from time to time, and I'll bring you back when there's something to show you. I honestly think it'll take a year. Now, there are a number of factors that determine how fast this stuff decomposes. One is the temperature and the zone you're in. Well, I'm in zone 5, so my results will be for a colder zone. It also depends on how much moisture there is. And I'll be watering the soil before I apply it, and then I'm going to water the paper and the leaves after I apply it. I'm going to try to keep it good and wet. It's now fall, almost the end of October. That's why we have so many leaves. So it's going to cool down now. Won't do much over the winter, and we'll see what happens in the spring. What do you think? Which one is faster, cardboard or paper? And how long does it take? See you in a few months. It's now the middle of May, and it's time for an update on my sheet mulching test. This is the spot where I had put several sheets of newspaper, one on top of another. And up here is where I used a single sheet. Came along a couple days ago, removed the leaves to try and have a look at how much decomposition I've had. I had no problems finding this area. The paper seems mostly intact. I don't really see any decomposition taking place. So this is the multi-sheet layer. The one up here I had a little harder time to find. I finally did find a section of paper. Doesn't look like it's decomposed very much, but some of the other areas have disintegrated. Now remember, this was taking place over the winter. I started this last fall and now it's spring, and I'm in zone 5, so there's not a lot of decomposition that takes place in this cold weather. Most of it's going to happen now. But you can see that if you had laid this newspaper down last fall, hoping to have an early spring planting, that wasn't going to happen. This paper is still here, and this is going to take a while to decompose. This is the area where I put down the cardboard. It's really solid. You can just start to see a little decomposition, but it's mostly still there. So I'm going to cover up these areas and bring you back in a couple months and show it to you again. I want to find out how long it takes for this material to decompose when you're doing sheet mulching. See you in a few months. It's June 1st, and it's time to have a look at how these papers and cardboards have been decomposing. So I've uncovered the paper. This test here was 4 sheets of newspaper, one on top of the other. And the paper's still here. There's almost no sign of decomposition. Up here is a single sheet of newspaper, and most of that has decomposed. There's little bits here and there, but lots of spaces beside the paper. Over here we have the cardboard. There's almost no decomposition taking place in the cardboard. Gonna keep them covered. See you in a couple months. It's June 28th, and time for another update. The single sheet of newspaper was up here, and last time I said I couldn't find any of it. I just didn't look hard enough. I had no problems finding large pieces of paper. Now it is breaking up, but I can still read the writing on the newspaper, so there's not a lot of decomposition taking place. I think it's just that the single sheet's so soft, and when it's wet it breaks up, particularly when I'm digging around here. Back here we have the 4 sheets, and it's still intact. Around the edges it's starting to break up a little bit, but again it's mostly still here. Paper does not decompose quickly. I don't know why so many people on the internet claim it does. Over here we have the newspaper. It's still in one large piece. It is starting to break apart a little bit. So there's a few cracks in the paper where you can see the soil between it, but it's still mostly there. End of June, and so far there's been very little decomposition taking place. We'll see you at the end of the summer. It's now the 3rd week of September, and it's time for an update. My mulch is pretty much gone from this area. This is where we had the single sheet of paper, and I don't really see any newspaper left. There's a little piece here, but it's pretty much decomposed by now. Back here we had used several sheets of newspaper. It's fallen apart pretty well, but you can still see pieces. I can still see the lettering on the newspaper. So after a whole year, it's still not fully decomposed, but it's broken up into small enough pieces that plants could grow through it. I can't find the cardboard. It looks like it's completely decomposed here. I did find the tape from the cardboard. It's a good idea to take this off because this will take many years to decompose. In the spring I had a couple extra dahlia bulbs, so I decided to put them back here. And they're turning out really nice. So it's been a year since I put the cardboard and newspaper down. In my last update, there was still paper here and I could still find the cardboard. It's now been 12 months and they've pretty much decomposed. But it took a lot longer to decompose than most people say on the internet. People are talking about this decomposition taking place in 2 and 3 months, and that's not going to happen. Lasagna gardening is a good idea, but you have to be aware about how long it takes for this cardboard and newspaper to decompose. I'm not surprised that it took a year. What I'm really surprised at is that the cardboard decomposed faster than the newspaper. I can't find any evidence of cardboard here, but I still see little bits of newspaper over there. If you want to learn more about lasagna gardening, have a look at this video right here.